Maria Gonzalez opened her monthly SNAP benefit statement and felt her heart sink. The number staring back at her was far lower than what she had counted on to feed her 3 children for the month. After working 2 part-time jobs and still struggling to make ends meet, this reduction in food assistance felt like a punch to the stomach. She wasn't alone. Across the nation, millions of Americans are discovering that their SNAP benefits have been cut, and many don't even know why or if they're protected from future reductions. If you or someone you know relies on SNAP benefits, please take a moment to like this video and subscribe to the Golden Money channel. We're here to help you navigate these challenging financial times with the most up-to-date information that could directly impact your family's well-being. The Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, commonly known as SNAP or food stamps, has been a lifeline for millions of American families for decades. But recent legislative proposals have created a storm of uncertainty that's leaving many families wondering if their food assistance will disappear entirely. The numbers are staggering, and the implications reach far beyond what most people realize. Let me paint you a clearer picture of what's happening right now. Congressional proposals are suggesting cuts to SNAP that would represent the largest reduction in the program's history. We're talking about nearly $300 billion in cuts over the next decade. To put this in perspective, that's more money than the entire annual budget of most states. These aren't just numbers on a government ledger, they represent real meals that won't make it to real tables in real homes across America. The current SNAP program serves over 40 million Americans, which means roughly 1 in 8 people in our country depends on this assistance to put food on their table. The average SNAP benefit right now provides about $6.40 per person per day. Think about that for a moment. $6.40 to cover breakfast, lunch, and dinner for an entire day. Most of us spend more than that on a single coffee and pastry from our local cafe. Under the proposed cuts, this daily allowance would drop to just $5 per person. That's a reduction of $1.40 per day, which might not sound like much until you multiply it across a month, across a family, across a year. For a family of 4, this reduction translates to losing about $168 each month in food assistance. For families already stretching every dollar, this isn't just a budget adjustment, it's potentially the difference between having dinner and going hungry. Let's look at how this plays out in real life. Take the case of Robert Thompson, a 62-year-old from Ohio who works at a local grocery store. After paying rent, utilities, and his prescription medications, Robert has very little left for food. His current SNAP benefits of $194 per month allow him to buy basic groceries, though he often has to choose between buying fresh vegetables or meat. With the proposed cuts, Robert would lose approximately $50 per month in benefits. That might mean giving up fresh produce entirely, or skipping meals toward the end of each month when his benefits run low. The situation becomes even more complex when we look at families with children. Sarah Mitchell, a single mother of 2 in Texas, currently receives $450 per month in SNAP benefits. She carefully plans every grocery trip, uses coupons, and shops sales to make sure her 8-year-old and 12-year-old have nutritious meals. Under the proposed cuts, Sarah could lose as much as $100 per month. For her children, this could mean fewer fruits and vegetables, more reliance on cheaper processed foods, or even reduced portion sizes. At dinner time, what makes this situation particularly concerning is how these cuts would be implemented. Rather than simply reducing benefits across the board, the proposed legislation would shift some of the financial burden to individual states. This means that states would need to find ways to make up for the federal funding shortfall, or they would need to remove people from the program entirely. Some states might choose to increase their own spending to maintain current benefit levels, while others might decide they can't afford to do so. This creates a patchwork system where your zip code determines how much food assistance you receive. A family in California might maintain their current benefits if the state government decides to make up the difference, while an identical family in another state might see their benefits disappear entirely. This kind of inconsistency goes against the fundamental principle that basic nutrition shouldn't depend on where you happen to live. The ripple effects extend far beyond the families who directly receive SNAP benefits. Local grocery stores, particularly those in low-income neighborhoods, depend heavily on SNAP dollars. When benefits are cut, these businesses see their revenue drop immediately. Farmers and food producers also feel the impact, as reduced SNAP spending means less demand for their products. Economic studies have shown that every dollar spent through SNAP generates about $1.50 in economic activity. So cutting these benefits actually hurts the broader economy. For seniors, the impact could be particularly severe. Many older Americans on fixed incomes rely on SNAP to supplement their grocery budgets. The proposed cuts would force many seniors to choose between buying food and paying for medications. This isn't just about nutrition, it's about basic dignity and health in our later years. Now, you might be wondering whether you or your family members are safe from these cuts. The truth is that until final legislation is passed, no one can say with absolute certainty who will be affected. However, there are some factors that might provide some protection. Families with very young children, individuals with disabilities, and seniors might have some additional safeguards. Though, these protections are not guaranteed. If you currently receive SNAP benefits, there are several steps you can take to protect yourself. First, make sure all your paperwork is up to date and that you've reported any changes in your income or household composition promptly. Second, stay informed about developments in your specific state, as state-level decisions will play a crucial role in determining how these cuts are implemented. Third, consider reaching out to local food banks and community organizations to understand what additional resources might be available if your benefits are reduced. The most important thing to remember is that these are still proposals, not final law. Public opinion and advocacy can still influence the outcome. Contact your representatives in Congress and let them know how these cuts would affect you and your family. Many lawmakers may not fully understand the day-to-day reality of living on SNAP benefits, and hearing from constituents can make a real difference. Looking ahead, the timeline for these changes is crucial. Most of the proposed cuts wouldn't take effect immediately, but would be phased in over several years starting in 2028. This gives families some time to prepare and gives advocates time to fight for alternatives. However, it also means that uncertainty will continue for years to come, making it difficult for families to plan their budgets and their futures. The broader question this raises is about what kind of society we want to be. Food insecurity affects children's ability to learn in school, workers' productivity on the job, and seniors' health and well-being. When we cut nutrition assistance, we're not just saving money in the short term, we're potentially creating much larger costs down the road in healthcare, education, and social services. For families currently receiving SNAP benefits, the key is to stay informed and stay engaged. Monitor news from reliable sources, keep your contact information updated with your local SNAP office, and consider joining advocacy groups that fight for nutrition assistance programs. Remember that your voice matters in this process, and elected officials need to hear from real people about how these policies affect real lives.